UN Secretary Council calls for immediate actions to alleviate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The European Union intends to launch Red Sea naval missions during 3 weeks. Houthi militia threatens to target more American and British warships in the Red Sea. Good evening, welcome to Yemen Today News. I am Abir Ali. The UN Secretary Council called for urgent actions to expand the flow of humanitarian aid to civilians in Gaza. The Council issued a statement expressing concern at the dire and rapidly deteriorating humanitarian situation in the conflict-racked territory. The Council urged all parties to engage with the UN's new humanitarian and reconstruction coordinator for Gaza. The Palestinian Foreign Minister called for a formation of an international field investigation team into the occupation massacres. The ministry said that according to the testimonies of Palestinian citizens, more than 30 bodies of Palestinian victims were discovered buried in the northern Gaza Strip. They were killed with their hands tied as clear evidence that they were executed in a field manner, according to the ministry. The European Union plans to launch a naval mission in the Red Sea within 3 weeks. The EU foreign policy said that 7 EU countries are ready to provide ships or planes, and Germany is expected to do the same. Last week, US and British forces bombed multiple targets in 8 locations used by the Houthis. It was the second time the two allies have conducted coordinated strikes on the rebels' missile launching capabilities. The U.S. President Joe Biden indicated that he had decided how to respond after the killing of 3 Americans in Jordan. U.S. officials said they are still determining which of several Iranian-backed groups was responsible for the first killing of American troops in a wave of attacks against U.S. forces in the region. Biden plans to attend the dignified and transfer to mark the fallen troops' return to America, as he indicated he was aiming to prevent further escalation. Tehran warned that it would respond decisively to any attack on its territory. Several Iranian Revolutionary Guards have been killed following Israel's strikes in Syria, with 5 members dying on January 20th and another 2 on December 25th. On Monday, another Israeli strike hit an Iranian military advisory center in Syria, killing 2, but Iran's envoy to Syria denied the details on the target and said that the casualties were not Iranians. China called for easing tensions in the Red Sea. Spokesman for the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that China does not want tensions in the Red Sea, stressing his country's commitment to reaching peace with all parties. The Chinese official added that the Houthis' attacks in the Red Sea had negative effects of China's trade with Middle Eastern countries. Houthis have confirmed that they would persist with their military operations in the Red Sea until a ceasefire is reached in Gaza and humanitarian assistance is allowed in to the enclave. This report has more.
The Houthis, who control the most populous parts of Yemen, have been attacking ships in and around the Red Sea, saying they are acting in solidarity with Palestinians in the Gaza war. Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthi group said it would keep up attacks on US and British warships in what it called acts of self-defense, stoking fears of long-term disruptions to world trade. In a statement, the group's military spokesperson said all American and British warships participating in aggression against its country were targets. The US and Britain have launched strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen and returned the militia to a list of terrorist groups as turmoil from the Israel war spreads through the region. The Houthis' attacks on the Red Sea have added an economic element to the turmoil by targeting shipping in and around the Red Sea. According to the statement, the Houthis fired missiles at US warship USS Gravely. On Tuesday night, the US military central command said they had shot down one anti-ship cruise missile fired from Yemen towards the Red Sea with no damage reported. Some shipping companies have suspended transits through the Red Sea, which is accessed from the Gulf of Aden and taken much longer, costlier journeys around Africa to avoid being attacked. Houthis say they will persist with their military operations until a ceasefire is agreed in Gaza, and food and medicine are allowed into the enclave to ease a grave humanitarian crisis.
Human Rights Watch called on the Houthis to release a Yemeni judge detained by the group. Abdulwahab Katran was arrested in Sana'a, having condemned Houthi attacks on international shipping in the Red Sea. Katran's son used the same platform to reveal that Houthi security forces entered the family's home, and then Katran was formally placed under arrest and taken to a secure location. A child was injured as a result of the explosion of a mine planted by the Houthi militia in Hodeidah Governorate. The Yemeni Mine Observatory said that the 13-year-old girl was seriously injured and had one of her feet amputated when a Houthi mine exploded on her. The observatory explained that the mine exploded while she was collecting fodder for livestock south of the coastal city of Hodeidah. The expansion of farms in Marib has provided many job opportunities for the displaced and the poor families. This report has more details.
Millions of Yemenis are facing several challenges after they were displaced from their homes, escaping the hell of war. They have experienced harsh circumstances over the past years in providing their basic needs, and they still are as the prices of food supplies keep on rising. But with the expansion of the cultivation of various crops, it created a glimmer of hope for these people, through which it provided many job opportunities during the seasons of planting and harvesting the crops.
Agriculture is considered one of the best sources of income for the workers here, as they have been suffering for a very long time from the repercussions of the war after they were displaced from their areas of origin. I work here in this farm. We plant different vegetables in order to be able to provide for our families. After the war, we were displaced and we left everything behind.
The expansion of the cultivation of many crops in Ma'rib has provided many displaced families with a daily source of livelihood to support them, as the heads of the families harvest the crop for farm owners in exchange for an appropriate amount of money that allow them to live in safety throughout the year.
We are displaced people here. We don't receive aid or any kind of assistance. We have children and they have many needs. We work with our hands. Sometimes we work and other times we don't. Depends on our physical health.
Ma'rib Governorate has become a fertile agriculture environment that produces many crops, including vegetables and fruits. It is considered a major source of income, filling the commercial markets with these products. In addition to increasing new job opportunities for the city's labor force, which in turn contributed to the expansion of agricultural projects and increased production capabilities year after year, by covering work within these farms extending for tens of kilometers and lacking modern agricultural methods.
Coming up in the news. Yemen National Sesame Day is marked in the liberated areas of Hodeidah Governorate.
Stands out for its richness, complexity, and distinctiveness. Coffee cuppers seem to breathe through their very souls with every sip. They appreciate the journey of the seed, dating back to when it was just an idea in the farmer's mind, through to its journey into their cup. There are various forms of preparation, followed with almost ritualistic precision. Yemeni coffee, an endless story of discovery.
Welcome back. Al-Khawkha district in Hodeidah celebrated the Sesame National Day, which falls in the 30th of January. Large number of people attended the event. This report has more.
In Hodeidah, the first Yemeni Sesame Day event was launched in its first edition to make January 30 of every year an event celebrated by Yemenis to promote the sesame crop. This event witnessed a display of popular heritage and local industries. These new and old customs are coming back to life in the peach market, where the crop is proudly displayed at the Yemeni Sesame Day event, an embodiment of a heritage that preserves the spirit of originality and beauty.
We celebrate this event on the 30th of January and we will celebrate it annually. Sesame has health importance. Today we displaced many things, including the Yemeni sesame.
President of the Yemeni Sesame Club spoke about the sesame's close connection with farmers in Yemen and noted the nutritional and health value of this Yemeni product, which has high quality, pointing out that Tehama areas have recently witnessed the cultivation and production of large quantities of this important crop.
In Tehama, we harvest sesame and we sell it in markets. We grow sesame in east of Al-Khawkha, but we need support to provide for us the equipment we need.
In this festival, there was a large audience present, in addition to folk dance groups and various songs. These moments and such events give some relief to Yemenis, especially with the hard living conditions they endure every day.
A young man was shot dead by Houthi militia gunmen southwest of Al-Jawf Governorate. Local sources said that the Houthi militants trapped the young man and he was subsequently killed. The crime came days after the two murders committed by the militia against the tribesmen, one of which targeted two civilians and others victimized a young. A tribal sheikh was shot dead by tribal gunmen in Al-Bayda Governorate. Local sources said that the sheikh was killed by gunfire near Central Hospital in the city of Rada. This incident comes in light of the escalation of crimes based on issues of tribal revenge and family conflicts since the Houthi militia took control of the governorate. Houthi militia attacked a number of detainees in Hodeidah Governorate and transferred some of them to Sana'a prisons. Security sources reported that dozens of detainees and prisoners in the Criminal Investigation Department carried out hunger strikes during this week. More than 25 prisoners carried out a hunger strike in protest against the tampering of their cases. The decline in the rial has led to a growing economic crisis in Yemen, doubling the suffering of Yemenis nationwide. This report has more.
In government-controlled areas, the Yemeni rial is getting closer to its all-time low of 1,700 per dollar, breaking a record of 1,630 per dollar. In November, the Yemeni rial fell to a historical low of 1,540 per dollar in government-controlled areas. A committee was established this week by the Yemeni government in Aden to handle the recent depreciation of the rial. The Central Bank of Yemen, which is located in Aden, closed unlicensed exchange businesses, held open auctions to sell hard currency to local traders, replaced the unofficial remittance system between exchange companies, and demanded that banks and authorized exchange businesses submit their financial statements to the bank during the prior rounds of currency depreciation. However, all efforts have failed to stem the collapse of the Yemeni rial. Only billions of dollars from Saudi Arabia and the UAE in financial packages and deposits into Aden's central bank have allowed the Yemeni rial to briefly recover before continuing its decline. The Yemeni government has long blamed currency speculation by black market money merchants for the currency's rapid decline. It also mentioned a complete stop of oil exports, the country's principal source of revenue, as another reason for depreciation following Houthi strikes on oil installations in October last year. This has led to an increase to basic goods like rice, wheat, gas, and transportation. The rial's collapse has also provoked violent protests in government-controlled cities in Yemen, including Aden and Al-Mukalla. Experts from Yemen said that considering the central bank's depletion of hard currency reserves and the government's inability to control the black market led to the recent sharp devaluation of the currency, which is not surprising.
The University of Taiza and Teachers Syndicate organized a joint symposium on the dangers of the Houthi ideology. The symposium aimed to shed light on the negative impact of the Houthis' ideology on peace and stability in the country and understanding the Yemeni identity in the past, present, and future. In addition to highlighting Houthi racism and its attempts to distort the Yemeni identity and its direct effect on the education sector.
Today we launch a joint event between Taiz University and the Syndicate of Teachers. This event sheds light on the agenda of the Houthis and its impact on the future of Yemen. We aspire to continue the cooperation with the Syndicate of Teachers.
Tai's Undersecretary for Health Affairs inaugurated the opening of the project to equip the Surgical Operations Department at the Third General Hospital. The Deputy Governor appreciated the efforts of the agencies supporting the health sector in the government, which includes 4 operating rooms and a recovery room. For his part, the head of the Third General Hospital Authority expressed his appreciation to the entities supporting this project. The World Health Organization monitored about 15,000 cases of parasitic diseases in Yemen during the past year. The organization said in a statement that it monitored during the year 2023 about 15,000 cases of this disease, whose spread is still expanding. The organization added that the disease is a neglected tropical disease that affects the poorest group and is linked to the malnutrition, displacement, poor housing conditions, and a weak immune system. Here is a reminder of the main headlines. UN Security Council calls for immediate actions to alleviate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The European Union intends to launch a Red Sea naval mission during 3 weeks. Houthi militia threatens to target more American and British warships in the Red Sea. This is the end of the news. Thank you for streaming with us. It was Abir Ali.